And so I've started a recording on that. So what I want to start with is give Alexander a chance to introduce himself to this group and share any opening comments he has. And then I want to take follow-up questions that people might have around for Alexander about background and equity work, about social media posts, anything that's on your mind there. And then I want to give people that opportunity to transition also to sharing their experiences, thoughts, or concerns about Tumwater. That was the goal of the meeting tonight. If we can get to some of that, that's important, because this was intended as a chance to listen, and that will be part of what occurs tonight. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for Alexander for you to introduce yourself and share any opening comments, and then I'll monitor questions in the chat and look for raised hands to see how I can, and I apologize, as I look at raised hands, I have a long list of people on here, so if, I'll be cycling screens, so hopefully I'll see and be able to do that. So be patient. If your hand raise is there and I don't get to you and it goes back down, feel free to put it back up, and I'll keep trying to get around to as many as possible. All right, Alexander, I'll go ahead and let you start. Oh. Are you able to get unmuted there?
There we go. All right. So first of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, very much for coming and participating in this advisory committee for equity. This is something that is a huge elephant in the room, as we've already mentioned. And before I say anything else about my background, of which many of you are incredibly interested in, I'm quite transparent when it comes to those types of things. But the very first and foremost thing that I want to convey to you is that I have to own the post. I have to admit, not only to you, but publicly to the community, to the district, that those posts were incredibly insensitive. During a political campaign, things get heated and bothered and things of this type of thing. And so for whatever reason, I contributed to the problem of a very, very contentious election and political environment that we find ourselves in today, as opposed to being a part of the solution. I lived my life pretty much trying to always be a part of the solution. But if anything that this last year and a half or so has proven is that during the COVID years, is that we have to really understand the why of why we do what we do in the educational realm. So therefore, I have to humbly come before you and address the elephant in the room that says I was a part of the problem that contributed to the actual environment. And so that's something I have to ask forgiveness for. It reminds me of a quote by Dr. Christopher Emdin. He states that the piece of you that is the most vulnerable and the most raw and unpolished is actually the anchor of your effectiveness. I have a lot of raw and unpolished parts of me. And but these are things that I am on a daily trek and a daily journey to improve myself. And this kind of leads me back to what I've been doing as far as my doctoral work at Northeastern University, where my doctoral work is on educational equity. My philosophy or my ground research is based upon culturally responsive sustaining teaching and pedagogy. And it's all about disproportionate discipline rates and amplifying the voices of all of our youth, not just a particular minority, not just a Black or Latinx, Latine, or LGBTQI plus students. It's about all of our students. And that includes students that are coming from very conservative or from more liberal progressive backgrounds. It's for all of our students, because as we come together, we definitely know that we have more in common than we do have our differences. So again, I will answer any questions that you have. But it is about learning from what you believe are your concerns, your fears, your expectations, your goals, not only for my department, but also as a district as a whole. What would you like to see in order to raise academic scores for all of our students and reduce and decrease disproportionate discipline rates for our students? What do you envision as that process? What does that process looks like? What does it look like? What is it? What are the actionable steps that we can take? And even though we may disagree somewhat on a particular spectrum of whatever it may be, your voice is valuable to us. It's valuable to me. I respect you for who you are as a person. And that is the baseline of which we will begin our conversation. So I'll open it up to any questions that you possibly have or comments as well.
I'm going to start with, I think, Jason, you've had your hand up for some time, and I have one that came to me in the there. So Jason, please go ahead and ask your question or share.
Unmute. There we go. So I have a question for both Alexander and Sean. So first to Alexander, do you believe Republicans or Trump supporters and or Christians are racist, which is what you posted? And then I'll ask my question of Sean if I can.
Sure. The answer is unequivocally no. My mother is also a very conservative Republican. She's pushing 78 years old right now. She's a conservative Republican. She's also evangelical Christian. And particularly in conversations with her, even specifically the last 6 months to a year, again, through humility, through this whole COVID issue and everything, I have learned, again, it's been a hard pill to swallow, that we have so much more in common as far as our goals are concerned. We may just have a little bit difference in opinion about the methods of which we accomplish those goals, but our goals are very, very similar. And so to answer again, very unequivocally, no, I do not believe that just because you are of a particular political party that you are racist, or particularly for Christian. I myself am a Christian. I believe wholeheartedly in that faith system. I want you to understand that those posts were, for whatever reason, I was flippant and I shared with my friends. It's a ha-ha, it's a laugh. It's not a laugh. It's not funny. I contributed to the problem and I perpetuated all of the divisiveness that is currently going on, not only during that political campaign, but also is continuing on today. So I have to take ownership that I contributed, as opposed to what am I doing to be a part of the solution. So I hope that answers your question, Jason.
And
thank
Sean,
you for the question, though. Thank you.
Sure. Sean, if Alexander posted similar content about Black people leaning into offensive stereotypes and insults, would you have hired him?
So what I would tell you to start is, I didn't see these posts until they were sent to me yesterday. Would have been something certainly we would have addressed at that stage. But as far as if they had been, so tell me what kind of post you're talking about so I can understand what that is. Is that?
Well, one post, for example, shows an image of Jesus as a Black man. It says, if Jesus looked like this, would white conservatives still be Christian? Another one shows a sign of Donald Trump that says, what you see on your lawn, Trump sign, what I see is a racist lives here. And then you have white men in MAGA hats surrounding a Black person at a counter. So my question is, if you saw similarly, because I think we can all agree these are sensitive and offensive, Alexander acknowledges that. If you saw those same posts concerning Black people or Latinos, people of color, would you have hired him? And since you just indicated that this could have been at least discussed had you known at the time, how would it have been discussed?
So the first question, I'm still a little, because to equate, I'm not sure. Are you saying if there had been, say, someone had posted racist posts, would we have hired them for this
instead of ideologically bigoted posts or anti-Christian posts, if the target of his ire happened to be Black, Latino, Asian, Jews, you name it, other than white people, would you have hired him?
I anticipate if there had been racist posts posted, we would have taken that into consideration, certainly as a hiring committee. That's, I mean, gosh, yes. I mean,
that wouldn't be automatically disqualifying. That would just be discussed.
Well, I think I think someone for this position who had posted posts that were facially racist, that would have probably been something that would have made it disqualifying for the position had we known that at the time of hiring, right?
Is it less serious because his position focuses on diversity and equity, and the district does not view either Christians, white folks, or Trump supporters indicative of extra protection from bigotry?
You know, that's I hear your point and I appreciate it, and I guess I need a little time to process that as you've shared it with me, and I think what you're saying is you feel like these are equally disqualifying.
It sounds like that's what you're saying, and so I wanted to clarify.
No, I didn't specifically say that these messages are equally disqualifying. I think it's a question. I see what I'm seeing. Of course, I'm also watching in the chat to kind of see how people are responding, and because we have a lot of people here, and there's a lot happening in the chat right now. But I think what you're saying is that essentially a feeling that having posted this and in a way that was disrespectful to a political party, you feel like should equally disqualify him from the position. So I have seen the posts, and Chris, you're absolutely right. I have seen the posts. I saw those initially late yesterday afternoon, and then further today. So I think if you're asking me to on the spot decide, does that disqualify him from the position? I feel like I do have to walk away and I have to process that. And so, but I appreciate hearing from you. That's why we're here. And I want that the intent is to gather your questions and concerns. I've been getting those by email, and I'm hearing and seeing the concerns that people are sharing in your posts right now. So I know that doesn't fully answer your question. And I guess, Jason, I need to, I'm not going to make that decision on the spot right now, but I'm hearing the concern, and I'm comfortable walking away and processing what you've shared and making decisions about that. So, anyway, so what I want to do is also move on and hear from others. So we have.
I would like to, Sean, I would like to follow up just one,
please.
One quick point. Jason made the question was, do we not feel as a district that Republicans or Trump supporters or Christians are worthy of protection? And again, that particular question is unequivocally, yes, they are. If you are a Christian, of which I am as well, if you are a Trump supporter, if you are conservative in your ideology, your family, whatever the case may be, you have every right, just like any student, to have a safe environment and to authentically express yourself in the classroom or anywhere on any district property. Those things are unequivocal. You cannot say that we're going to protect these particular students and not protect others. All students have to abide by the same the same policies and instructional strategies. So yes, Christians will be protected. Just because you're a Republican, yes, you will be protected. Your voice will be heard and respected and will not be disparaged.
The next question I want to get to, Ashley, you had a question. You had your hand raised early, but you said you weren't able to get hand up. And as I saw it, I think it was the second one. So Ashley Andrews, are you there? Ashley, are you still with us? All right. If you're able to join us, if not, I'll move to our next hand and come back as we get the opportunity. The order, I'm hoping this comes in the right order as people raise them. So I'm going to say Sarah. I've got Sarah's iPhone, and Sarah, I apologize, I don't have last name. So want to give you the opportunity. Sarah, are you there? Let me see. Oh, Sarah, maybe I need to put that, there you go, Sarah.
To allow us to unmute ourselves in order to talk.
Oh, it's not allowing you to? Apologize. Okay, so
no,
I'll get to Ashley next then. Thank you.
Yeah,
so I'll find Ashley.
No problem. So first off, you claim that you're Christian, and this isn't for you, Superintendent. You claim that you're Christian. Okay, anybody can claim this. Your posts don't really prove that, in my opinion, because I am a devout Christian. You claim it wasn't funny, your post, and it wasn't laughable, but most of your captions for each of those social media posts were riddled in laugh emojis posted by you. Your last post was on June 28th. Do you really expect me to believe that a month ago, you have just changed your mind within the last 30 days of what started in 2019, your post? That's when they started. These bigot, disgusting posts started in 2019. You really expect me to think that you've changed within 30 days? And I've noticed, Mr. Dotson, that you're tripping on your words a lot. And you asked Jason to tell you what post he was referring to when he was talking, but you already said you've seen every post, and then you said it again. So I've got to remind Mr. How do you pronounce his name again?
Stanoff.
Okay, I've got to remind you that anybody can say they're Christians, and I consider you a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because here's the thing, you literally just said also, Mr. Dotson, the fact that you wouldn't agree because you said you needed time to mull this over. It shouldn't have any time to mull this over, because you know if the situation was reversed, and I think this is what everybody else is referring to. If the situation was reversed, it was a person of color that he was referring to, then he would have already been just out the door. There's no question. There's no question about it. But the fact that you're doubting this right now is leading your entire community to doubt you as a superintendent. And that is not a good thing to have at this time, Mr. Dotson. And I encourage you to do what's right by your community, who is calling out to you and telling you that they do not trust this person with their children, which is an important thing that he will be teaching. He'll be around our kids. That's important. He'll be leading this. I mean, he's the instructor of the whole thing. And it's just laughable that a person that wants to lead equity could not be more equal in his statements of racism and bigotry towards Christians, towards Republicans, towards Trump supporters, and towards white people. And that's all I've got to say on the matter.
Sarah, I'll just clarify. When I say I'd seen the post, yes, I saw the post yesterday. And when I asked the last questioner, just to clarify, what I was trying to get my head around is what the posts he was describing toward people of color were like. And so I apologize. It took me a moment to fully understand that. And yes, I'm tripping over my words. This is a hard topic, and it's high stakes. And I really want to think this through. And sometimes when I'm thinking, it's hard to dual process thinking and speaking at the same time. So apologize if you see me a little stumbly tonight. This is hard stuff, and we're dealing with a lot of emotions.
No, I completely agree with you. It is hard stuff, but at the same time, it doesn't even take a genius to figure out what's going on here, and that this man is pulling a wool over your eyes as well as trying to do it to everybody else's. This is not a man that we want around our children, and I think I speak for everybody on here when I say that tonight.
So, all right. Thank you, Sarah. For Alexander, I want to give you a chance to respond to what you just heard.
That's certainly tough to hear, obviously. But I believe that we are all human, and myself included. And even those of us who are in the field of equity, we are on a journey as well. And we will stumble, and I have stumbled. And I will continue to do my very best for this work and for this district and for the families of this district. But to challenge my legitimacy of being a Christian is certainly something that I will not comment on. I will just not comment on that.
So I had said to Ashley that I would give her that opportunity to unmute because I missed her the last time around. I've got to find her on my screen here.
I think you did. Can you hear me?
Ashley, are you there? Okay,
yep.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I do have a question for you, Sean, but I'd like to first say, you know, Alexander, one, I appreciate you being here, but when it comes to being a Christian, remember we're known by our fruit, and that's really important. And the fruit that you've shown on these posts are not appropriate. And you have, you know, I have these posts, you know, for example, there's a silent K in the word night, 4 silent Ks in the word knickknack, and 3 silent Ks in the word Republican. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. I am not a racist. And by that post, you called me a racist. And I really don't appreciate that. My question for you, Dr. Dotson, is this going to be reconsidered? Is this position going to be reconsidered? That's my first question. My second question is, I don't understand how we did not look at social media. To me, it's huge today. I coach softball at Tumwater High School. I check my girls' social media weekly because they represent me. They represent our school, Tumwater High School, and they represent Tumwater School District, and that's important. This is important, and I don't understand how this was overlooked. It's been on there for a long time. And in the moment that you found out, these were gone in 10 minutes, which shows that there's guilt and shows that there's wrongdoing. And to me, that's a really big deal. So my first question is this going to be reconsidered, this position? And my second question, well, I guess that's my question. Is this going to be reconsidered?
So I think, Ashley, what I'll end up continuing to say tonight is I'm not going to make a decision about that during this meeting. I'm here to listen and here to give the purpose of this meeting wasn't to make a decision on Alexander. It's to hear from you, hear the concerns, hear thoughts from our community. So all of that will be taken into consideration, as well as all the other information I'm receiving and as we think forward. So,
well, as I pass on my time to someone else, I graduated. I went through the Tumwater School District. I love the Tumwater School District. I love this community. I love the different people here. I do. I'm a teacher in the Tumwater School District. I'm asking you to please reconsider this decision. This is so important. Please, for our students, for our parents, for our staff, please reconsider this.
All right. Thanks for sharing thoughts, Ashley. Appreciate it. The next person I believe I have on here is Andrew. So Andrew, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to unmute. Can you, are you there? Andrew, can you hear us? I can't hear you if you're speaking. All right, Andrew, I'm gonna come back around to you if you don't mind. So I'm gonna go to Katie is the next I've got here. So Katie, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Hi, so I just wanted to ask, is this a position that's been held before, or is this a new position within the district?
It's a new position within the district.
Okay, so may I ask, how much are we paying for this? Inclusion, diversity, equality?
It's a director position. I believe the range, I don't have the range in front of me, but I believe the range is in the range of our directors, which as they looked at comparables, I believe it's in the 120 range.
Wow. Are the other school districts, Olympia, North Thurston, do they also have inclusion?
North Thurston has a position. I don't know if Olympia does at this time. I have to look and see on Olympia. I know a number of other districts are adding this, certainly with the growth and the work around this. So that's it's a position that is growing in additional districts. We've been pretty thin in our student learning department. We actually reduced it down a couple of years ago to fairly small. And what we found is there's a number of roles this person holds, everything from managing 504 for our students with disabilities, which means overseeing those students who have plans due to a disability. It involves hearings, harassment, intimidation, and bullying incidents, involves staff training, so there's a lot to this. You actually, from the outside, you would look at that, but some of this has been, we've been getting by having piecemealed together, and we really needed to make sure that we put it in a place where we can do it well, so.
Okay, I don't know about the rest of the parents, but I think we're all around the same age, and we grew up fine, and we grew up not hating. And I feel like we all teach our kids that. And I cannot believe that we have to pay an educated person who's made some bad choices that much money to teach our kids about equality. And I really hope that parents are aware of what's going on already in the schools with equality and diversity, and how it's very one-sided. And so I hope with this new director position, should he hold it, that we start to see equality and diversity on both sides of the spectrum. Because if we can preach about one side, we've got to make it fair. That's what equality is. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen after this conversation tonight, but I truly hope that we see equality for what it is, because right now what you're preaching is not equality. So that's it.
Thank you, Katie. Catherine Sailors, I have you on next, and Andrew, I'll come back around to you and see if we've got you here. Catherine, are you there? Oops. Oh, sorry.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Catherine. I went K through 12 in Tumwater School District, and I also have a biracial son that is in Tumwater School District. And I've been working with equity here for several months, and it's interesting that tonight we see a large majority of people showing up. I've never seen this many people here. And we've had a lot of issues in Tumwater around different things. And it's interesting to me that as soon as it's against white people, we have a large majority of people here. It's also interesting to see past people that have worked for the district here speaking when I've had my son and spoken at board meetings where there was intense racial bullying to the point that I had to remove him from school, and he's been in counseling for 2 years. And he doesn't plan to return to school now. And many of you don't have this experience. I didn't as a white student in Tumwater. And I just hope that all of you really understand, and I see your perspective. And if I just grew up in Tumwater and I wasn't around people and didn't have experiences, and I wasn't raising a son that is going through all these experiences, and I'm saying Tumwater in general, I'm not talking about the posts that we're seeing. I'm talking about the work that we're talking about doing within the equity committee and the equity team. And I've worked with Sean. Alex is new, and I can tell you that Sean has been working. We've been making progress, and everybody's human, and people make mistakes. And yes, social media is big, and maybe something got missed. And all of you, if we reamed all of your social media, there would be stuff, there would be something. And yes, you're not representing the district in equity, but let's like be a little bit compassionate and a little understanding, and maybe even understanding is something that you can't understand. And regardless if we're Christian, we're Black, we're white, no one's going to have the same opinion. It's not out there that all white people have the same opinion, all Republicans have the same opinion, all Democrats have the same opinion. That's not really how it goes. So I'm really glad you guys are all here, and regardless of how everything goes forward, I hope that you're here to really make a difference in Tumwater and make schools safe for all students in Tumwater.
Thanks, Catherine. Andrew, I'm going to give you another opportunity to see if we can get you on here. I know you've been waiting. And oops, Andrew, are you there?
All right, yeah, you got me, Sean?
Yes, I do.
All right, awesome. I just have one question for each of you. First of all, what is your guys' policy on racial discrimination? As far as I know, most people have a zero tolerance policy. So I was wondering if that would apply in this case, or what the district's policy is on racial discrimination.
So we do have a policy against racial discrimination. I would say we don't tend to, so zero tolerance, if what you mean by zero tolerance is, do we remove a person immediately if they engage in a behavior? There's been a real shift the last few years from that, because when one of the things that even when we have someone does something, if we just kick them out, there's not learning there as much as just removal. So you'll see in our schools, you see a lot less suspension, expulsion. We've been trying to shift away from that as a way of solving our problems. So zero tolerance, if by zero tolerance you mean, do we not accept it? And do we use it as an opportunity to teach and change behavior? Yes, we do. Zero tolerance is that's not okay. We work with the student, work with the staff member, work with anyone to change behavior. If it means, do we immediately, when we have an issue of discrimination, remove the person? That's not how we always do it with students. It's not how we always do it with staff, because the intent is to teach and change behavior. So
okay, well,
that's my best answer to that.
That's fine. And I guess a follow-up to that one with them would be, if there are actions taken, whether they're punitive or rehabilitative, would those become public? Like whatever action you guys take to remedy the situation?
Well, I would say that most people, when it comes to personnel actions, have some right to privacy. That's, I mean, I can tell you with regard to that, in public employees, they have some level of privacy in those matters. Sure. As far as I hear, it sounds to me like what you'd hope is to be able to know exactly what does happen in that regard. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
We comply with the law when it comes to those matters.
Fantastic. And I guess my other question is for Alexander.
Yes, sir.
With the last post, the last racist post that you made on Facebook, just being a month ago, I think Sarah touched on this, and I don't think you responded directly. You said earlier that most of this was caused by anger or hatred or whatever it was, fueled by a contentious election. However, you were continuing to make racist posts and statements on your social media site just a month ago. So how do you expect us to believe, one, that you're telling the truth here and that you've changed with such a short amount of time in between said post and now, and also to remedy the fact that you said that most of it was done during an election when that's clearly not true?
The posts, regardless of the time it was that it was actually shared. Again, it was, in my opinion, the effects of the very contentious election have been ongoing. It is a very contentious environment, and there's nothing that I can say. There's nothing that I can say to explain or give you a rationale of why I shared something like that on my friends list. It comes across as, when we have different policies, it's almost a recognition or an admission that we're just simply not talking to one another. And because for so long, my mother and I, we couldn't talk together about some of these issues, and so it's almost some of these posts are almost like a satire. You're like, can we really truly not speak to one another on substantive issues and come up with true actionable plans and steps that can be beneficial for the entire country? So it's almost a gasp of I can't believe the ridiculousness of all of this, of the way that we cannot talk to one another. So again, there's no rationale, there's no defending it. It's completely untenable. And I just ask that you give me a chance as far as discussing with me and seeing what my true heart is and where my work is and what I've been doing, and let us move forward, not only for the community, but for the students and families here at Tumwater. So that's kind of where we are at this point.
Sure.
With that particular question, sir. Yes.
So
sure,
Yeah, Andrew,
you might not know this about me, but I get jokes. It's one of the things that I do. However, I don't think that showing a pattern of racist behavior is satire and or a joke. That's all.
All right, thanks, Andrew. I'm going to keep moving because there are a number of people and want to be respectful of time. So, Savannah, I am hoping I can give you the opportunity to unmute. There we go. Or did I see if I get that right? This list is moving. Yes. Savannah, can you hear me? All right.
I can. Thank you so much for giving me some time. So just some context. My name is Savannah Navarro Kresse. I am a Mexican-American woman. I am new to the area. I have 4 children in the Tumwater School District. One of them has special needs, and they are in elementary, middle school, and high school. And first of all, I would like to say that I want to say thank you to the district for investing money and time and energy into equity work. I think that the money that's spent on salary position and education around race and equality is necessary for this community. And I think that the repeated incorrect use of words like racism and equality in this space shows just that. I am concerned with anti-Christian sentiments in that it is not equality for religion, but political ideology, anti-Republicanism, and anti-KKK sentiment are not anti-white. And therefore, that it means it is not racism. And if it is racism, as you say it is, then that would mean that white equals Republican and KKK. That is not the case. That is not a whole truth. And so I think that if you have this standard to religious equity that needs to be addressed and continued education in that space, as well as how to be inclusive to other religions. But as a mother of brown children in this school district, I am very concerned with this environment. The experiences that my son has experienced in this school district in the 1 year that we have been here make a lot of sense now. And I hope to continue to delve into this community and really, really do the work, because a lot of work needs to be done here.
Thanks for your comments, Savannah. Let's see, I think the next person on hold is Kyle Baxter. Let me see, Kyle, if I can get you unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Kyle, you're there, you're on.
Okay, so I don't want to keep going on the same bandwagon as everybody, but I do agree that there needs to be some changes for this particular position that was selected. The person that was selected maybe needs to be reconsidered, but not to keep rehashing, the other good points a lot of their parents have made. Some other comments were on here that the children have been having problems for years and no one's ever done anything. So I guess me being a parent with 2 boys in the Tumwater School District, if this post wouldn't have gone viral or blown up the way it did, I would have not known about this. So as a parent who wants to get involved, especially in this particular topic, did I miss something? Was there something that was sent out that I just missed until this post blew up? Or was there a sign up or some sort of, information that went out that I just missed? And the only reason I saw it was because of this particular post going crazy the way they did.
Yeah.
So is there a way to stay involved?
So I sent out something the other day inviting people to this meeting. I think it was yesterday morning, I believe the message went out. We started last summer, we did a survey in the community on the topic of equity and said we were forming this committee and put it out at that time in some letters last summer. And we had a number of people who signed up, and we've been talking this year. So that group's been meeting throughout the year. When people contacted us, we had others interested in it, we would go ahead and put it out. But then we said, okay, this summer we need to expand membership in this group. So yesterday, opening the message, inviting people to this meeting, our intent was to start to expand participation in the Equity Advisory Committee. So what you're seeing now is we're saying, let's build membership and participation in this group as we go into this year. So that's the intent, so. Okay, so if there's like a list or something to stay on, if you could please add me somehow. Or yeah, Kyle, please. So Kyle, I think if you would, well, okay, I'll make sure I get your name, and Becky Powell will have her contact. If you could put maybe into the chat or direct message to me or email, that way we have a contact and we'll get you connected. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it right in there. I have no reason not to. Yeah, I'll put it right
worries.
in the chat.
Or just in, either way, or even email it directly to me. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I think our next person is Justin. Justin, I've got, oops, Justin, let's see if I've got you here, Justin.
Are you there?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
It's actually, that's okay. It's under my husband's name. We're both here, but my name's April. I have a question for Alexander. On your Twitter, your LinkedIn profile, it says that you held the diversity coordinator position in Galveston, Texas for 4 months. That's a very, very short period of time.
Yes.
It does. And then that was the end of it. Is there a reason? What can you explain to us why that was such a short held position?
Sure. That position was a temporary grant funded position. And that was to end in April or May of 2022. When I was hired for that position, I was told that because it was a grant funded position, those grants would be automatically renewed and rolled over. We were working with various different community-based organizations, including University of Texas Medical Center, Mental Health America, various different organizations in the community. And again, I was told that they would automatically be renewed. When I took the position, my supervisor told me quite frankly that was not accurate. Some of the other members on the hiring committee had spoken out of turn, and that was not the case. They would do everything possible to secure those additional grant-funded positions and get the funding for that position, but it was not by any means guaranteed whatsoever. And so therefore, I informed my immediate supervisor at the time that I would be looking for permanent or at least stable employment. And that is the only reason that I left that position, because it was temporary and grant funded without any type of substantive plan to actually have those grants renewed.
Okay, so I'm going to, I'm managing a couple of things here and some messages from people. So next up, I think we have Sato. Sato, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing name. I think I've hopefully given you the opportunity to unmute. Are you there?
Yes. Okay. I just posted, so I haven't finished my post. So I'm sorry, I didn't know this meeting was about the social media issue. So probably I'm really out of context. But my purpose of attending this Zoom meeting was to seek the solution. I'm Japanese Christian, and I sent kids to the camps. And then Saturday, my son came back home with sadness. The racial comment toward him was unbelievable. I don't even want to say what he was called, but he believes white Christians are Republicans and racist, and which is not true. And I cannot convince him that's not true. But I just wanted people to know that kids experience such things in 2021. In the equality was preached on everywhere. But so I'm sorry, I'm very out of context. But I know the Alexander posted, I mean, I heard, just found out that Alexander posted such contentious post. But I just wanted to bring the solution and wanted this community to be the kind community. Okay, we all have a bias and yes, make mistakes and stuff. And I don't know why kids still the bullies like my son like that. So I know some people are really upset about the post, but even how we present our opinion, feeling towards a opponent, I think we need to speak with kindness and then purpose of bring kindness to this community. 2020 was really tough for everybody. But I just want to look forward from now on, not only for among the adults, but for among the children. I don't know what to do with this situation. My son, I love him. And I know that not everybody thinks that that way. I'm not repeating what he was commented about the race. And there are tons of only few kids commented him about race, but there are tons of good people lives here. I just want that those good parts will shine in this community. So I don't know, we can bring the solution, not to say the racial comment and stuff, but I wanted to add that why don't we say the more positive and appreciation for the differences. I think we should put more effort and time for that towards that. I'm sorry, my English is not perfect, but that was a purpose that I wanted to participate for this meeting. Thank you. Oops.
Thank you so much, Sato. Krista Solberg, I think.
Can I pause for just 1 second?
Yeah, yes, sorry, Alexander, please.
No, that's okay. A part of the solution that Ms. Benson is referring to is that we want every single student, regardless of background, to have a safe environment in our schools. They must be safe, and they must create an authentic relationship, not only with their teachers, but also from peer to peer. And of course, that goes into like bullying and things of this sort. But those are the two true tenets of what equity work is really about. So again, it's about a safe identity environment where our kids are Black, Latine, Hispanic, LGBTQIA+, Asian Pacific Islander, whatever demographic that a student self-identifies as, they must be respected and feel safe in the classroom. And then of course, they must be able to authentically express themselves through that culture or through whatever spectrum they find themselves or self-identify as. That's to address Mrs. Benson. But I've seen a couple of comments that I have shut down my LinkedIn while we were speaking here tonight. That is absolutely not the case. My cell phone is sitting over here and it's completely turned off. My LinkedIn is public. There's an article that I wrote about the relationship between DEI and student achievement for everyone that you can read. So that LinkedIn is not shut down. So I don't know where that is coming. I don't know why that is LinkedIn coming. Is it not operable right now? I'm not sure, but the LinkedIn page is not, I have not deliberately shut that one down at all.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we have a few more hands up. I want to go ahead and give Krista Solberg opportunity to speak. I know a few of you have been waiting a while. Krista, are you giving you that chance to unmute? Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Krista. This is actually Krista Bender. I have my maiden name on my Facebook profile.
Oh,
so
sorry,
no, that's fine. I have one son who graduated Black Hills, and I have 3 more children in the district, dual enrolled at this point, thanks to COVID and some other things. But I initially wanted to join this meeting because I wanted to see what it was all about. I didn't know anything about the social media posts, but now I do. One of the gentlemen who shared looked like his screen had the posts on there so I could see them. But I had a couple questions. One, I was a little bit concerned about the term outcome in your email, equality of outcome, because that sounds more like Marxism to me, and that's a little bit scary to me. Yes, definitely equal opportunities, but equal outcomes is concerning. And then I was curious what led up to this position, like the need for it, or what had happened that we felt like we needed this. And then, as an aside, now that I've been sitting in this meeting, like I'm so sorry to Sato and other, not because I did anything, but just because I care, and that's terrible. And I know bullying happens whether it's about race or not race. And I went to a multiracial school and experienced some racism for being white, and I didn't appreciate it, but I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that there was such an issue in our school district, and I definitely care, but I also am concerned about that it isn't really as across the board as it seems. And then on that, on the posts, yeah, we need to have grace for each other. I'm a Christian also, but like I agree with the gal who mentioned by their fruit you'll know them. Like if he didn't believe those things, he wouldn't have said them. So that's a big deal, and that is targeting a group of people and labeling them like prejudice, that if you're this, then you're that. And it's a big deal. So that's what I have to say. And you can answer, if you can answer my questions about the equality of outcome. Are we going to lower standards or spread, you know what I'm saying, so that everyone's on the same playing field? And then why did we need this large salary position in the first place? Like, how did this come about?
So as far as equity of outcome, I don't think we can ever guarantee equity of outcome necessarily. What we want to get to is a point where we can't predict a person's outcome by their socioeconomic status, disability status, gender, race. Unfortunately, I've seen over time where we've had, in a variety of districts, this isn't a Tumwater phenomenon, but in other districts where I've been in, where we could, I was in a district in Eastern Washington where we could actually predict the performance of our students by their zip code. And it came down to socioeconomic status. That was frustrating. Like, we're not going to have equal outcomes. I have 2 different kids. They have very different needs. I can't treat them exactly the same way. I've got to help each of them with their different needs. I can't guarantee that will result in the same outcomes for either of them, but I want to give them what they need to have the best chance of success. And I think that's the work of this group here, is to try to build, how do we get to where we can't predict a student's performance by the color of their skin, by their their family income, or by any other distinguishing characteristic, that each kid has that equal opportunity to succeed and a welcoming environment to come to school. So I think that's our goal. And so, and as far as trying to think, I apologize if there was a second part to that. I'm going to ask you to, oh, sorry, Elijah, hang tight for just a minute. I'm going to ask Krista to unmute one more time. If there was a second part I may have missed.
I just, if I can comment on what you said, that all sounds good and well, but hopefully the district recognizes ownership, that some kids don't care, and you can give them everything they need and they're not going to put the effort in. So hopefully there isn't so much pressure on the adults that won't account for that personal ownership on the parts of the kids. And then my second question was the reason for the position, like why all of a sudden do we have this position? What was the precursor for that?
Yeah, precursor for that has been since we passed an equity policy in December 2018, the district has been really expanding this equity work. And I'll tell you what, when you have important work in a district, and I've been trying to lead that work from the superintendent seat, but I have so much else on my plate that I'm able to give very limited energy to it. And so, we, as I shared earlier in the meeting, we've slimmed down our student learning department to where it has been bare bones. I mean, we have been very, very small, and people have been split between so many responsibilities. I couldn't hand this to someone on our team and say, you've got this. It would have overloaded them. So I was doing some of it. And so finally we said, it's time to add a position back into student learning, and this has become a bigger area of need. The board has identified equity as our key area of work to do. There's a number of responsibilities that fit under it. Our community is saying to us, we have work to do in this area. So that comes down to why we chose this position, is what to do as we added student learning back. And so that was a discussion that involved the board. It's been at some of our board meetings. So I know most of you don't probably attend our board meetings or may not watch those on, but there's been discussion going on about this at work sessions and board meetings over a matter of months. So so hopefully that answers that. And I know we're coming to 7 o'clock, and that may mean some of you have to go off, and we can hang on for a little while longer to answer additional questions. But for those who need to leave, if some of you came hoping to participate in our regular Equity Advisory Committee meeting, and I know we really haven't gotten to that, I apologize. I'd encourage you to rejoin us at our next meeting and come back to participate and start getting into our regular discussions. But this is important, and we need to give time to it, and we need to give the opportunity for people to be heard and for us to discuss the issues. So we're going to stick with this for a bit. And just want to thank all of those who are here for one reason or another. I'm going to continue to ask just in the chat, keep it respectful, because I am seeing some things that start to get personal and disrespectful, and that's when I think we create a lot of emotion. So I'm hoping we can focus on that there. And Elijah, I've got you up next. So are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, it's under my son's thing. My name is Amber. Elijah is my son. He attends Tumwater School District. So when he would join his Zoom meetings, it was still under his name. So I'm a graduate of Tumwater High School. My 3 children go to Tumwater High School. I just want to say that while I find this is definitely needed, and reading some of the parents' comments on here, it breaks my heart to know that their children are going through this, because really what this is about is that all of our children are equal. They go in, they get treated equally. I think a lot of parents have an issue with the post because it's now targeting specific groups. It's targeting Christians. It's targeting, political. It's targeting, certain people, and all we want. And really this is what this is all about, is our kids, and knowing that they're free to go to school without being bullied or, feeling like they're less than another child. And so, I don't know. I think that, in my opinion, I couldn't imagine having my child come home in tears or not wanting to go back to school because of being bullied. And we need somebody in that role that is going to be an advocate for every child in the school district, not just for some, but for every single child. And I think that's why a lot of parents are upset about these posts, because they don't feel like it's for every child, it's for some children. But again, like I said, I have 2 children in middle school and a child in elementary school, and they've never come home to me. So I get that it breaks those mothers' hearts. And I mean, it almost has me in tears to read what they are going through. And one mother asking, where were we? But we didn't know. I mean, we aren't told when a child is dealing with racism or bullying in school. And so if she has a way for us to help her, we are more than willing to help. But it just has to be about every child, every single child, is all I want to say.
Thank you, Amber. Ron Rupke, I've got you next on our list.
Hey, how is everybody? This is actually Amy Grass
and Leanne
Rucky, and we're still trying to figure out technology apparently from last year. So I do want to address Alexander today. I received a lot of your posts from parents, and we teach kindergarten in the district, and most parents know us, and I'm actually from the East Coast. So I grew up with a lot of issues in race and what I saw growing up. And this part of the state sometimes, I shouldn't say it like that. The West Coast hasn't always had to deal with as many issues as you might see on the East Coast. And I've recognized that as I've lived here for the last 25 years. It is needed. I totally agree. We definitely need diversity, inclusion, especially with our special ed students in the schools. Our kids do need to understand all types of people, ethnicities, backgrounds. But today when I saw what you posted, I can't believe how tight my chest got and how upset I was, because what you did today, Alexander, was you just took a staff when we do need to be open to this discussion and be ready to have these conversations. And my first reaction was, I don't want to hear from you, and I don't want to hear it from you. And that's not good, because our staff needs to be able to listen. And many people felt the same way I did today. So I'm going to come to you from a staff member. And that was the part that was really hard for me. And I know Mrs. Repke and some of the other teachers, is that what you put out there really, we continue to put people in a corner and tell them they're something and call them names. They're not going to want to listen. And if we did that to children, that would not work. And we ask children, and we tell children in Tumwater School District by our panorama survey that they have a viewpoint, but I didn't feel like that today. And I just want to say, for the future, in whatever position you have, even your words, your posts, even if you don't agree, you lacked a lot of respect today, and now it's really hard for us to hear what you have to say. And that's not a good thing, because this is something we do need to talk about. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Amy. Let's see, I have Steve Paulos. You've been waiting for quite a while. Thank you for your patience, and I should be able to unmute you. Hi, Steve.
Hi there. This is Jessica.
Hi,
Jessica and Steve Poulos. We're on the same phone here, and we just have a couple questions. We have 5 children, and I actually graduated from a really diverse high school, River Ridge High School. So I do understand that Tumwater isn't as diverse, and we definitely have work to do, which we totally support. However, majority of middle and high school kids have social media, and they would see these things. When I saw the post go around today, I looked on Facebook. I also looked on other social media, and what I saw was absolutely disgusting. And I actually turned it off because it's like I couldn't breathe. So the questions that I have here are, what was the interview process, and who was on the interview panel?
So our interview process, so we usually start before with a screening. So screening our candidates through their application packets and some early reference checking. Our interview panel actually included, we had a board member, we had a couple of members of this committee, we had some staff members on that interview panel. It was about 8 or 9 on the panel, and then that was followed by reference checking with the districts where Alexander's worked previously, and gathering information. I can tell you the references came back incredibly positive about Alexander's ability to work with people. And so this is, I think that's where I would say nothing we've seen in his background, and Alexander, I apologize, I'm talking about you third person here with you in the room, but nothing there indicated anything that would say isn't open to a variety of viewpoints. In fact, what I heard was that people who spoke very highly of his, and we called not only references that were right there, but also others that weren't listed as reference on that list to contact with previous employer, said very positive things about his ability to work with staff, work with community in support of equity. And so, so that was the process. So there was screening, interview day, reference checking, and then that led to the hire. So I hear you, and I certainly hear in the chat a lot of people saying we need to have social media review as a part of our hiring process. That has not generally been a part of the hiring process in Tumwater School District. And so recognize that people are saying that does need to be a part of it. And I hear that, and we'll take that to our HR for discussion about what positions, when do we actually conduct that, and who do we have who's going to engage in that for us. So Jessica, sorry, was that the only question, or was there anything further? Sorry, I have you. I'll make sure I'm unmuted in case I missed something.
We find it very hard to believe that on your screening process that you're the state agency that's not screening social media. We know several HR5s within the state. One of the first things they do is they look at social media.
And just one more question. Can you name specifically who was on the interview panel?
I don't have those names in front of me right now, so I'd have to go back to that. So I can't write at this moment.
Can that be public later?
Yeah, we can get, I mean, well, here's what I don't want. I don't want this to become a lynch group where people are going after the people who are on that interview committee. I apologize, Steve, not that I think you would do that. I just, I want to be clear that, I mean, thinking about that, everything we do is public information. So I don't, if someone wants that public information, we can get it. I just want to make sure that this isn't about going after people who are on the interview committee.
No, it's not.
Fair enough. So,
yeah,
but we can, but basically, yeah, but we can get the names of those who are on the interview committee if that's something you'd like. So
okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks,
Sean.
Mm-hmm. All right. So seeing a lot happening in the chat. I don't see any other hands up at this stage. So I do have a question. Who was the board member on the panel? That was Lori Sale, who I think was on with us this evening. I do have that directly in my head. And so, so Steve, you said your hand's been up, and I'm not seeing it here, but I can get to you. So Steve, where are you? Let me pull you up there. There you are. Steve, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
All right. Hi. Well, Sean, first of all, I want to say I'm really surprised to hear that you didn't know about this until today. You know, with all the technology that's out there, with all the social media that we have, especially interviewing for a director's role, that you guys wouldn't have looked at somebody's background. You know, earlier somebody was talking about their kids are online and they constantly are monitoring what they're doing and saying. You know, Alex, and for us to, as parents, to vote for people in these positions, you know, we expect you guys to thoroughly look at people's backgrounds. And that was not done here. And I'll be honest, I don't know why we're even talking about this right now. I think once this stuff was posted and it became live to everybody, this conversation shouldn't have even happened. There's nothing to consider, in my opinion. Alexander, as far as you, you know, you talk like a true politician. And as far as, you know, you calling people out and pigeonholing people into certain categories, everybody in America today is either white, black, Republican, Democrat, Muslim, Jewish. We're not Americans anymore. And you know why? It's because people like you are pigeonholing people. Apparently, if you're a Trump supporter, you're obviously racist. You know, you're a trained professional. You should know better than this. I don't believe anything you've said. I don't believe that you regret it. Your comments, your posts, your reactions since then don't support it. And I clearly don't believe you. You're supposed to be there to influence our teachers and to help, you know, mold their minds and help them think clearer and bigger and better. And they're there, our teachers are there to influence and train and love and support our kids. I don't support somebody like you going in there and trying to influence our teachers. You know, and one of the questions I've got for you is I've been all over social media and I've looked up anything and everything I can about you. And guess what? I can't find nothing about you. Why is that? Why all of a sudden did you disappear and all of your posts are gone?
We're talking about Facebook?
I'm talking about everything. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, you name it.
Well, like I said, my Facebook, I did go private because it's a private Facebook. It's not professional.
It wasn't private before today.
It was supposed to have been private. It was supposed to, and I've already conveyed that to Sean.
It wasn't. And you know what? You should be held accountable for everything you put on there. To say that you apologize to us. And you know, earlier you said, what was it you said? Quote unquote, I was flippant. You know, we hold our children accountable for stuff. And we should hold you accountable for that. There is no reason in the world for you to do what you did and to say what you did and to act the way you did and then to come on here and apologize to us because you did it time and time and time again. It's unacceptable.
I agree. That was unacceptable for me to share those posts. Absolutely. I've already agreed that is true. It is an untenable act that I did. But as far as my LinkedIn profile, that has not been shut down. As far as Twitter, I used Twitter for maybe 3 months back in like 2018. I've never used it since. It's just something I don't use. I do not even have an Instagram account. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have those particular profiles. I have LinkedIn and I used Facebook for my personal. LinkedIn was my professional and Facebook was personal. Those are the only two social media apps that I've used and that's that I've ever used. So when you're looking for me on those, that's the reason, because they simply do not exist.
Okay, and I want to give, because I brought up, I mentioned someone had asked who our board member was on the panel. I did disclose that Lori Sale was our board member on that because I did recall that from the, at that time. So I'm going to go ahead and give Lori an opportunity to speak. Lori, are you there?
I am here, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to see so many people on this evening. I think this is really important to be discussing. And since Sean did mention me as being on the committee, I do want to speak to it. I think that's fair. I would like to just say that when we were interviewing these candidates came to us, we thought, as vetted. I had no idea of Alexander's social media posts at the time of the interviews. If I would have known and would have seen these posts, I would have seriously been given very serious consideration to hiring him. I don't think these posts have any place in a respectful discourse. We are here to support all children. We are here to educate all children. We are here to lift up and support all of the children in the Tumwater School District. That cannot include discourse that divides and makes parents feel that they are not included or offended. I am not happy with what I've seen on social media tonight. I was sick to my stomach. It's important that we have these discussions, and I think it's extremely important that we revisit this hire. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you again for all participating. I appreciate all of you. And I think that going forward as a community, Tumwater will be stronger than ever before. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so at this stage, we don't have any other questions that are showing right now. And so what we will do from here, I've had a lot of questions about where the recording will be hosted, and we haven't posted recordings of these meetings, and so I don't have a setup for that. So I'm going to have to identify probably on, we have an equity page, and so we'll probably need to post it to that when we're able to do so. So I'll work with our web team and figure out what we can do here. People wondering a lot of questions that I'm unfortunately not able to answer tonight, and going to have to take away the information we've received here. And thank you all for participating and for giving your feedback, and we'll take it all into consideration and figure out our best path forward. So I appreciate it to those who have reached out and sent emails. I've tried to respond. I know some of you have seen responses that you're getting, might be getting a similar response because it was the same information to share. But if you are reaching out, we're trying to get back to you and make a connection. And certainly if there's those who want to meet, we've had people who will, who I know Alexander's offered to meet with anyone who wants to meet to speak. And thank you for being here tonight, Alexander, and speaking to this. Becky's shared in the comments. If you're interested in being part of the Equity Advisory Committee, please email Becky. She's put her email address into the chat. Really do want to expand participation in this group and build that, because I think what I've heard everyone agree to here tonight is that this is a really important topic and an area where we really need to continue to work together as a community to figure out how to be better. I think I appreciate the board for saying this is a priority in Tumwater, and it's something that we need to do, and we need to give adequate attention and make this a top priority. So that said, thank you very much for your time this evening. Thanks for participating, and I'm going to go ahead and sign us off. Take care and have a good evening.